everybody. I just arrived on the site Monday morning, 7 a.m. We're at a residential house and we're doing a driveway here today. Let's take a look at everything here. All right, so that piece is going to be coming out of there, that metal track the gate rolled on. And that one's going to get a new one, you know, installed on top of the new concrete, drilled, and anchor bolts, expansion bolts, I should say. Over here we have the existing 2-inch drain line out of the backyard that hooks up to the downspout in the backyard, and it just exits over the sidewalk. We're going to abandon that and we're going to drain it into a new drain we're going to be putting in here. You can see the sandbags against the garage. They had some drainage issues there, but we're coming all the way down through here. The palm trees are coming out. That planter bed will be staying, but these first 2 palms will be removed. This will be solid concrete all the way to the edge, the same edge of the existing brick. So we're going to maintain the same line. It'll just be concrete instead of brick and grass. Here's that track. You can see how rusted and corroded it is. So it's a good time to replace it. And this is Star Vista dump trash disposal. Looks like they got a new truck. New to them anyway. And let's see who we have over here. I think we have Andy, the skid steer operator, and what Andy brought in today. He's got his external fuel tank. Got some diesel fuel in there for this unit. Andy, how's it going?
Good morning, Mr. David.
You ready to do some demo?
I am ready.
Right on. This is it's got brick. We got brick, concrete, and a couple small palm trees. If you know anybody that wants them.
I might take it home.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's take a look at the homegrown team here. We got Doug, Odell right here.
Yeah, that's me.
And we also got Mr. Francisco.
Hi.
We're gonna get it on here, old school style today, because you know we're gonna rip it out, we're gonna set it up, and we're gonna pour this thing and be out of here within 3 days total. That's the game. That's the game plan. Because there's a storm coming in, a lot of rain. We gotta beat the rain. That's the basic. That's the idea. All right, Andy just rolled up, dropped his breaker attachment. What he's going to do on this is remove all the brick and the palms, grass. He'll leave that driveway for last. That'll be his turnaround point so he can spin his tractor on the existing driveway. That way he's not messing up with the dirt too much with the tractor, and he's not tracking a lot of dirt into the street. So that driveway will be the last thing to get removed. And it was interesting, as we started tearing this sidewalk out, we found that there was 2 layers in there. At some point or another, they must have had a lot of water problems, I figure. And they came in and they put like about a 2-inch mortar bed over the top of the old sidewalk, because there was about a 4-inch step out of that house. So everything's came up over the years to try to get the water to run around the end of the house to the side yard and backyard. But now that we're going to be installing a drain right here near the front door, it should solve all these problems they were having without having to do double layers and stuff. This New Holland tractor's it's a powerful unit for sure. You can see how it lifts those big pieces and it doesn't teeter. A lot of the skids, or some of them that I've been in, will kind of flip forward or teeter on the front tires when you get that bucket full. This one has no problem with it, but he's also added some weights in the back too, so that helps. You notice how he leaves the stuff along the garage, does that by hand just to make sure that he doesn't damage the door or damage any of the existing concrete. It's a really good technique. So he was going to save these palms. He was seriously considering saving the palms, but inevitably they just ended up disposing of them. The palms came down pretty easy. He just reached the tooth up over the top of that palm, pulled it to the side. If you pull it straight back, it'll land right on your lap. So he knows how he turned it and pulled it to the side. That way it wouldn't land in his cage. That's important to remember if you're ever doing this in a tractor, pulling stuff down in front of you. You don't want it to land on you. Here's Francisco. He's gonna take all this green waste and they're gonna make it into mulch or whatever they do with green waste. Here's the curb setup. I just set a 2x4 in the back, and now we're setting a 2x6 right in the front. Basically, the height of this curb, the top of curb, is the bottom of the pickets, the wood pickets of the fence. Now right there with the 4-foot level, I just transferred over a 1/2 inch below that 2x6, transferred it over to the gate. That gate is too low, and since it swings out, it'll have to be modified. All right, we're at 12 o'clock, started at 7, and we've accomplished quite a bit today. Got it all removed. We got a curb set in the back here. We got a form set over here. We had to make a lot of elevation changes. What we've got now is a slight valley off of that garage floor out about 4 feet, and then shooting down the valley all the way down this way. The way this whole thing's set up initially to drain is around each end of the house towards the backyard. So whatever that drain can't pick up, it'll run across that lawn around the side yard. There's a lot of slope down the side to the back, and we have the same situation through this side yard. It ends up going to the back of the property. Getting ready to wrap it up because we did it so fast. What happened is we actually worked too fast, and now we're going to be leaving early. We're not going to get that full 8 hours in because we actually did in 4 or 5. You know, typically we would take 8, but it's just that we coordinated everything so well, and we had everything planned out that we got ahead of schedule. So now we're gonna burn some time up and blow out of here a little early. Yeah, Francisco here did a magnificent job today. He's the reason we're getting home early today for full pay, full day's pay. You know, the only way. Day 2 on the job site, 7 a.m. and we're gonna put the steel in today and finish up the form work. So as I'm setting these forms up, getting the planter bed formed in the outside perimeter where the concrete's gonna stop, Francisco's chopping all the rest of the remnants of the roots from the palm out. Right down below, I'm putting that 4-inch square drain, connecting that. These drain pipes go around the side of the house into the backyard. So we're just going to continue it all the way around. That string line represents the new flow line. That string line is lower than everything else other than the drain. So that string line from all the way to the back of that curb, we have about a 0.5% slope. It's not much, but it's a lot better than it was before, because they won't need the sandbags anymore in front of the garage or the overlay. This job's gonna go 13 yards of concrete. We're gonna be using a 3000 PSI 3/8 pump mix. Here's the plate compactor going in. This ground was somewhat moist, so we didn't have to wet it. This particular compactor's from Tomahawk. It's heavier than your average compactor, and the plate's a little smaller, so it really hits harder per square inch than most plate compactors do. Now we're putting the 3/8 rebar in here. We're doing 2-foot centers of both directions. Also, the homeowner requested dobies. Normally I don't put them in, but in this particular case we will be putting them in. The reason I don't like dobies is because, especially for 3/8, they're fine for 1/2 inch, 5/8 bar and stuff like that, where you can walk on the steel and it doesn't bend. But when you get down to that 3/8, if you do happen to step on it and it's on dobies, it ends up bending. So then you'll have your ends popping up and your middle down, stuff like that. It just seems like it works better to pull it up. But we were careful during the pouring process not to step on it, not to bend it. Here's Francisco's personal rebar tire that he ended up bringing. Really nice system. You just pull on it and it twists it automatically. Day 2 has come to a close. We are 10:30 in the morning, so 7 to 10:30, and we're ready for concrete. Take a look at that. Concrete, 7 a.m. tomorrow, 3,000 PSI, 1% accelerator, and we should be out of here by around 12 o'clock tomorrow. All right, day 3, I'm on site again. Got here about 6:30 in the morning. Put some dobies under this. We like to, if we do use dobies, we put them in early in the morning. That way no one has a chance of walking over this and tripping overnight. So that's why they go up in the morning. The pumper has arrived. Here's his rig. We are expecting rain later this afternoon. If you look at the house shape of that roof, all the water runs right off onto the concrete. That's where you have the problems on your drip lines. You know, if the concrete's not hard enough, you'll have a drip line that embeds into the concrete. So that's the only place we really got to be concerned with if it does rain early today. All right, the pump is running. He just blew out the prime water at the other end of the job. That way it'll be absorbed by the time we get down there with the second load of concrete. Here's one with the 3-foot aluminum that fit into this little entry real nicely. He's got to work it all to that drain. This is where pretty much the entire driveway is going to go. Now, if that does clog up, there could be a buildup of water. If like leaves were to get over that, the water would build up. Some of it would probably end up in that planter. Some of it would work its way towards us and around this end of the house. Here's your 4-foot wood bow float. And I'm running that right there. When I bow float on these valleys like this, I try to avoid the valley as much as possible, especially when it's at this stage. As it gets harder, you can go through the valley, but for right now, you want to try to avoid it on your first pass with the float. You can get close to it, but you really don't want to overwork it. Also, we're going to be joining this whole project the same day. We're going to be using the Arizona joiner. It's a 3/4 deep. It's got 1/2-inch radiuses on it. The curb went in real nice. Here's Juan, second pass with the bow float. Now he's running a 3-footer. And this stuff's going off pretty quick because we've got the high PSI and we've got 1% accelerator in it. Here's Manuel with the Fresno. So now we're snapping out the lines for the joints. I'm using a dry line. I'm in the planter bed. Doug's on the other end of that line. That thing that we're using, the poles, that's hooked to the line, and they call that the mosquito. And what it is a piece of straight rebar that adapts to your pole. You tie the string line around that, and then you just reach out, jab it into the concrete wherever you want the line, then you can snap it. So that's the mosquito one. Developed that particular tool, real nice one. Here's a 1/2-inch edger. The only way to get to this planter. Can't use a walking edger in this area. Wood hand float, just knocking out the lines, making it flat as possible. So this is what I like to do. I like to catch all the edges by hand before I even edge them. At least get them nice and flat. And then give it some time to set up before you run that edger. That way you'll stay flush and flat all the way through. There's the cutter tool. It's about a 6-foot tool that you know it's going to be straight for 6 feet at a time at least. And here's that 6-foot joiner. This is your pre-cut. It's not your finished joiner, but this is what makes your lines straight and keeps them straight. At least it's straight for at least 6 feet every time with this. As long as you don't get on it too early with your Arizona joiner, it'll stay straight. So that joint going down the center of the driveway, that's about 60 feet. So that's the hard one to cut. If you can't cut it all the way across, So what we're gonna have to do is get out there a little early with some knee boards, walk out on those and cut it the rest of the distance. It was a little challenging getting the joiner through the wrought iron, but we got it. We just had to make sure that we inserted the joiner through the right slats before we ran the tool. Now you can see he's out on the sliders right now, continuing that join all the way through. That'll also go right up the curb face and through that as well. Here's a 1/2 inch edger. We just rolled the curb down where it meets the sidewalk. You can see the funny float going on down there at the other end of the job, knocking out all the knee board marks, joint marks. See those knee boards down there that Juan's got? Something new he's trying out. They're actually skim boards, throwing out when the waves come in on the sand at the beach. As the wave goes out, you throw these skim boards out, and then you can run out and kind of slide around in the shallow waters on them. So he's trying them out here on the concrete. And I asked him how he liked them. He seemed to like them so far. On the drain there that he just went around, it's all taped off, and we took the grate off. That way it wouldn't get all concrete on it and concrete down in the drain. So we removed the grate. It's a removable grate, so you can clean out. It's kind of got somewhat of a catch basin in the top of that lid for heavy debris before it goes into the drain. So you could clean that out every so often if you wanted to. Another challenge right here, edging against the wrought iron railing. Francisco's on the sponge on the outside, keeping that sidewalk clean. Much easier than putting plastic over it. Now we're getting down to pretty much our final pass here. Cleaning up the joints, knocking all the lines out. That's a 20 by 5 trowel, one side rounded and the rear side square. Then you can fit into corners, and you can trowel out without leaving lines in the front. Here's Zorro. He's doing a little touch up in those wet areas. This end of the job site was a little wetter because everything drains to this end. So the soil's a little wetter, which inevitably means the concrete dries slower on that end. All right, here's the broom. This is 100% nylon. It's probably a medium. The black is your really coarse. Then the white is your finest, and the green's kind of a medium. And by the way, it did rain overnight. When we came back in the morning to strip the forms and do the minor cleanup, right around that drain, because we had it taped off, all the water was puddled around that. And once we opened that up, pulled the tape, there was a little puddle left up near the top end, very small. So it really worked out good all in all. And you'll see that near the end of this video. You can see that 60-foot joint, very straight. And all the joints are straight and no straight edges, just walking joiners the whole way through. We probably waited an additional 40 minutes to get a broom on this end. There's some grass blades that got in the concrete somehow, probably from the knee boards. It's a good idea to pull all that stuff, any foreign materials that you trowel in there on the surface, they're going to inevitably come out at some point, and you're going to have a little, like an imprint or a fossil imprint of something. We're here pretty early. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and we just took the forms off here. Took the planter form off over here. We gotta get that form out still. And that's about it. But yeah, it turned out real nice, you know. Turned out real good considering our drainage situation we had wasn't real good. But we made it work. There's that curve. Retain that neighbor's property right there.
Let me go. I don't have my phone.
Got some nice joint patterns in here. This is that Arizona joiner. We got a drain right here as well, right down here. So some of this, a little bit of this water from this end of the driveway, like from the garage door, whatever comes off the eave, or if they end up putting some gutters up here, they can downspout it over to there. But we had we had a 0.5% in 60 feet, you know, so we didn't have a lot of slope here. But you can see that after we got the rain last night, you can see the water still dripping here a little bit from the overnight rain. And because we had that 1% accelerator in there, we had a good 3,000 psi mix. The concrete withheld this drip line. We have one minor puddle right here. It's very little.
So next
Very little one right there. In the daylight hours, or during as the sun comes out, these puddles will probably last about an hour, 2 hours after a rainfall, maybe. That's about it. Yeah, it's looking real good.
949.
Here's the porch. There's that drip line right there off of the eaves. But this is all done, and probably about, you know, this time of year, they're gonna have to wait probably 10 to 14 days to drive on this. 28 days is full cure time, but you know, you get most of your strength in the first week. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we upload the next video. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.